Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Music Lab podcast. My name is Dogg, and I'm so excited to be back with all of you for another episode of the podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us. That helps the bands, artists, and festivals that we feature. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are back with our day two recap of the Green River Music Festival. The Green River Music Festival, like I said, and we talked about it briefly in our day one recap that you can see on our YouTube channel and all platforms that you listen to your podcasts at. We let you know that this festival started in 1986, but for the second year now, DSP Shows and John Sanders has taken over this festival to keep it afloat and to keep it financially viable. Guessing at the numbers this year, I'm assuming there were at least 10,000 at this festival at the Franklin County Fairgrounds. And like I said in day one, man, you never felt crowded. It was so spread out, so well done. The camping area didn't seem real far away, although we did not camp. We actually stayed at a hotel about 40 minutes away. But yeah, everyone was so welcoming. The volunteers, you could tell the artists were appreciative. The audiences were some of the most polite audiences that I have ever witnessed, just quiet throughout. So you could really hear the artists and the bands playing and the music. So that was a wonderful thing that you do not see all the time and hear at concerts and festivals these days. Also, not a lot of phones out. You know, people were taking in the moment and being present. A lot of children, a lot of activities for children. They did a parade on Saturday at 5:30 where all adults, kids, they dressed up. They had all kinds of stuff. They paraded through the entire festival. It was an awesome experience. People really got into it. The food. Let's talk about the food. The variety, so much variety. Filipino, Thai, Mexican, barbecue, you know, you name it. They had a broccoli, like a broccoli food stand or food truck. So if you couldn't find something that you liked there, you were definitely at the wrong place. So well done with the selection, quality, and variety of the food vendors. And then also they had a huge makers market and a really great setup for the vendors. They were covered. They had their own spaces. And yeah, it looked like people were buying, and that's the whole thing. You know, they weren't just watching and looking. They were actually buying. So I'm sure the vendors did really well this weekend as well. So let's get to the music. You guys are like, my God, Dog, you're a music podcast and you're talking about food and all this other stuff. There was plenty of music, ladies and gentlemen. So we got there at 1:30 on Saturday. The gates opened at 11 a.m., I think, each day. So we got there at 1:30 in time to see Brattleboro, Vermont's own Thus Love. Now, if you remember, if you listened to the podcast before, we actually had Thus Love on last year for a Zoom interview, and they were fantastic. And the set was fantastic. Got some great shots that you can see on our social media pages from that show, as well as all of the shows today, as well as Friday. Thus Love, like I said, from Brattleboro, it's about 30 minutes away from the festival. Echo, the lead singer, and the boys and girl, the bassist, they fucking rocked it. They are 90s grunge with a little punk and definitely a lot of rock and roll thrown in. So they were, the crowd definitely got into them. And, you know, for a 1:30 show at a festival that was going until 10:30 at night, there was definitely a good amount of people that came out for it. So after Thus Love, we went over to see the Illuminati Hotties, one of the best band names out there, and definitely a South by Southwest band name. Lead singer, chick lead singer, she fucking belted it out. They had great stage presence. They all had the same outfits on. And yeah, they were great. We saw them um, at the main stage, so that was good. Then after them, we got to see the Altons. And I had listened to them beforehand, so I knew what we were getting into, but I had no idea visually what they looked like. Just an eclectic group of musicians. Um, just fantastic. Their music translated so well live. The crowd was definitely getting into them. Definitely like a throwback sound, 50s kind of 60s, but also like, modern influence. Um, had the guitarist had a great trumpet part on one of their songs. So definitely check out the Altons. That's Altons. And then the highlight of the day for, I think, a lot of people that were at the festival and were there early enough to get to see her. Danielle Ponder, ladies and gentlemen. She went on at 4:30. She had an hour set on the main stage, and we got there early enough to see her kind of sound check a little bit, which was kind of hilarious because then that was her first song that she started with was the song that she was sound checking. But let me tell you, notwithstanding the voice, she definitely has some Adele qualities to it vocally, which is saying a lot. I'm not going to throw Adele's name out there for anybody. But just her honesty, her stories, talking about being a full-time lawyer and at 43 years old deciding to become a professional musician. It was inspiring. It was captivating. And then she ended her set with a cover of Creep by Radiohead, which, as you know, Radiohead is my number one band. So anybody that tackles a song by them, I'm going to give them props to. And she just absolutely killed it. And there's actually on her Spotify, you can actually listen to that version as well. So there is a recorded version of that. So Danielle Ponder, thank you so much for just blowing our minds for, 50, 55 minutes on a Saturday afternoon. And it was hot. It was hot. Which led to our last performance of the day, Jeremy Albino. He was at the back porch stage, which was a really cool, like, again, let's talk about the stages real quick before we get into Jeremy Albino. They had the Dean's Beans stage, which is where Thus Love and the Altons played. Smaller stage with the forest as the backdrop. The lead up, I guess, in front of the crowd, in front of the stage was kind of like a hill, but not like very gently sloped. So it kind of worked out well. You had a good sight line wherever you were at. The back porch stage, like I said, where Jeremy Albino was, it was a covered sort of pavilion, really, with just a stage that was put up at the end of the pavilion. So there was like a GA area kind of in front, and then there was seating kind of in the back. Great sound though throughout. All the venues had great sound. And then you had the roadhouse or the roundhouse stage, which was a structure, a built-in structure, wooden structure, with a stage, or I'm sorry, not with a stage, but just a stage setup on the ground where you basically like sat either Indian style or like you stood. Really tall building too, with glass windows at the top that were kind of circular, as a roundhouse would make sense. It was a circular building, but really cool setting. But it did get hot in there, and they had a second level too that you could stand. You just took like a step sort of ladder up to get to the second level. So that was kind of cool. And then the main stage was, your typical stage. So, but yeah, so Jeremy Albino, produced his last album or released his last album in November with Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. So definitely got that Nathaniel Rateliff, Black Keys, that kind of sound, a little bit of Muscle Shoals. And he had great stage presence, young. All four guys in the band were definitely under probably 25, maybe even under 30. So these guys are up and coming. Definitely check them out. Jeremy Albino. I'm sorry, not albino, Albino. So there you have it. And then we headed to Treehouse Brewing after that because they were only open until 9 o'clock because we had a delivery as well as Yeah, we just wanted to get there before 9 o'clock. So that was our day at the Green River Music Festival, Saturday, June 21st. It was a 3-day festival. We missed out Sunday, really. The two bands that I would have really liked to seen on Sunday were Future Birds, who we have seen earlier this year in Philadelphia, and Grace Bowers and the Hodgepodge. But we had other prior commitments to get back to for Sunday, and we're releasing this episode today, Monday, the 23rd. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our day two recap of the Green River Music Festival at the Franklin County Fairgrounds in Greenfield, Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts. Beautiful, rural. Loved our time there. Cannot wait to be back for next year's festival. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our social media pages. That helps us, and that helps the bands, artists, and festivals, as you can see, that we feature. Also, check out our sponsor, RAR Outfitters. That's RAWR, outfitters.com. Don't just wear, RAR. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Dogg. You've been great. This is the Music Lab Podcast.